Scandalous mayhem in Russian troops, Russian soldiers tangled. If there is no spirit of unity and solidarity within an organization, it becomes impossible to succeed. No matter for what purpose or in what form people come together, if there is no harmony, there will be big problems. It is also not easy to ensure unity and solidarity within a group. First of all, the reason why people come together must be embraced by everyone. Everyone must work and strive with the same dedication. One of the places where unity and solidarity are most important is the army and military units. If there are problems harmony in the army and between military units, serious security problems arise. Especially in times of the war, there are moments when the chain of the command must work fast. If there is no solid coordination and working principle in these times of crisis, there will be great losses. Russia is a country with a very diverse population. The paradigm shifts that have occurred since the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine have shown that Russia is a country plagued by crisis. The Russian army has not been able to achieve the breakthrough it wanted in Ukraine, where it has been trapped. In recent days, it has had difficulty responding to the increasing Ukrainian attacks. In the meantime, when Russian troops clashed within themselves, the situation became even more deadlocked. An event that took place the other day showed that these crises have reached their final point. Two Russian troops clashed with each other and killed each other. Now, if you're ready, let's analyze the clash of Russian troops together. A report was published the other day by Ukrainian National Center of Resistance. According to the reports, a clash broke out between two military units fighting inside Russia. As a result of this clash, 20 soldiers lost their lives. The Resistance Center, created by the Ukrainian Armed Forces after the occupation of Ukraine by Russia, provides data flow from Russian troops. The Resistance Center reported that the clashes between Russian troops took place in the village of Mikhailivka in Zaporizhia Oblast. The parties involved were Chechen forces fighting for Vladimir Putin and forces from Dagestan. The details of the clash point to a further escalation of this scandal. Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov has long been a close ally of Putin, and Russia has deployed men in Ukraine since the beginning of the Ukrainian war. Chechen forces are known to be trying to replace Wagner after the leader of the Wagner group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, fell out with Russian military authorities. According to information from the National Center of Resistance, Russian media came to Mikhailivka on the day of the fighting to shoot the story about a senior official in Kadyrov's Chechen unit. That night, a verbal fight broke out between Kadyrov's troops and contingent from Dagestan. The verbal fight escalated into mutual violence, and one of the Kadyrov's men reportedly opened fire in the air with small automatic weapons. Another soldier reportedly received multiple stab wounds at the time. The fighting intensified from there, and a clash broke out between two groups involving grenades and automatic weapons. According to local sources, the Dagestani troops were the victors in the clash. However, a total of 20 soldiers from both sides were killed and more than 40 wounded. The wounded soldiers are being treated. After the clash, the commander of the Chechen unit with the rank of colonel was sent to the front lines of the war as punishment. Although Chechen troops in Ukraine have not received as much as media attention as Russia's official army, the death last month of the commander of Chechen armed group known as Ahmad has been widely reported in the international press. The death of Yevgeny Pisarenko, who had died fighting on the front lines in Donbass in the previous days, was also announced by Chechen commander Apta Aladinov. Such a crisis between two Russian troops drew great attention. There is a danger that the two groups fighting on the same side may be intervened differently against each other after this incident. For this reason, the Russian administration is trying to cover up this news and prevent it from spreading. However, the news has already spread and made whispered impact on social media. The latest incident between Chechen and Dagestani group has once again revealed the situation of Russian troops. Things are getting worse on the Russian front, where there is no spirit of unity and solidarity. While Ukrainian troops continue to advance, Russia is losing more and more casualties every day. According to a recent statement by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Russia lost 4,140 soldiers in Ukraine last week. Having lost so many troops in 1 week, Russia has proved unable to deal with the crisis. The Kremlin often withholds information on troops' losses, and when it does, experts say its figures are not accurate. According to statements by Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar, Kiev forces have achieved success around Eurozone. But she said that Russian President Vladimir Putin's forces continue to attack in other areas. The agency, which announced that the number of shelling in the region last week was about 10,000, continues to share information from the region. The destruction caused by the attacks and shelling is hampering transportation and logistic activities. Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar said that despite Russian resistance, the Ukrainian army managed to liberate 3 square kilometers near Bakhmut, adding to the 15 square miles gained in the region since late May. Ukrainian forces are also continuing fighting and advancing in the Donetsk region. According to reports, Ukrainian troops continue to advance towards the village of Eurozone in Donetsk and Zaporizhia Oblast town of Robotin. According to experts, the village of Eurozone is of a great strategic importance. Military experts explain how Eurozone plays a key role in Russia's supply lines, and Ukraine's regaining of the village could have a major impact on Moscow's forces. Ukraine's gains in Eurozone have further demoralized the Russian army, which was already in a bad shape. Local sources confirm the Ukrainian army's gains. But there are dubious claims that Russian troops have been completely wiped out. Following suspicions about the small Russian unit hidden in the area, the Ukrainian reconnaissance team conducted a thorough investigation and eliminated the suspicions. Now the region is completely under Ukrainian control. Russian military experts who think that Russian troops are heading towards a serious collapse criticize the Kremlin administration with harsh words in the article they shared on the internet. Experts blaming Vladimir Putin for the incapacitated states of Russian army thinks that a new strategy should be determined. The crisis between Chechen and Dagestani groups at the front is expected to be a turning point. This incident, which explains the state of Russian army in a good way, has even led to resignations among senior commanders. Moscow wants to keep the war going for many years, but it is rapidly depleting its own resources. We will see what the Kremlin will do in the coming days. What do you assess the conflicts between Chechen and Dagestani troops, and what do you think can be the consequences of 2 units fighting for the same goal? Do you think that Russia will no longer need Chechen and Dagestani troops if its interests conflict? What do you think Russia's military losses show? How do you think Ukraine's counterattack are going? We value your opinion. Please share it with us.